Goldie's what you think she is. Women adore Goldie, men love Goldie, and if you don't, there's something wrong with you.
For more than 4 decades, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn have done something that seems almost impossible in Hollywood. They stayed together. No public wedding.
No dramatic breakup.
No endless cycle of headlines about betrayal, divorce, or a relationship falling apart under fame. Yet somehow, they built one of the longest-lasting love stories in entertainment history. And the question has followed them for years. If they love each other so much, why did they never get married? Fans have guessed at everything. Some believed there was a secret fear of commitment. Others thought their busy careers kept delaying the wedding. And some assumed that after so many years, they must have simply stopped caring about making it official. But the truth is far more interesting. Because Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn did not avoid marriage because their relationship was weak. They avoided it because they believed their relationship could only survive if both people remained free to choose it every single day. In recent interviews, Goldie explained that she and Kurt did not want marriage to take something away from their independence. She said they wanted to keep choosing each other not because of a legal obligation, but because they still wanted to be together. Kurt has said something similar. For them, a marriage certificate would not create anything they did not already have. But their story did not begin with a grand romantic plan. In fact, they first met when they were much younger, long before either one understood how important the other would become. They crossed paths in 1966 while working on the one and only, genuine, original family band. Kurt was still a teenager, and Goldie was already beginning to make her mark as a dancer and performer. There was no romance then. Their lives moved in different directions, and for years, they built separate careers, separate families, and separate futures. Goldie became one of the most recognizable stars in Hollywood. Her bright personality, comic timing, and unforgettable screen presence made her a household name. Kurt grew from a young Disney actor into a major leading man, known for roles that made him look tough, confident, and impossible to ignore. But behind the success, both had also learned difficult lessons about love. Goldie had already been married twice. Kurt had been married once. Both knew that a wedding does not automatically guarantee happiness. Both understood that love can become complicated when money, pressure, fame, children, and expectations enter the picture. Then, in 1983, fate brought them together again on the set of Swing Shift. This time, everything was different. They were older. They had lived more life. They had both experienced divorce. Goldie had 2 young children, Oliver and Kate Hudson, while Kurt had a son named Boston. Their relationship was not just about romance. It was about whether 2 people with real responsibilities could build something stable together. Kurt later recalled that he was immediately struck by Goldie, but their connection became deeper as they got to know each other. It was not built on a Hollywood fantasy. It was built on humor, shared experience, and the feeling that they could be themselves around one another. That may sound simple, but in Hollywood, simple is often the hardest thing to protect. Because once 2 famous people become a couple, every smile is analyzed. Every time they appear separately, people assume trouble. Every rumor becomes a headline. Every private disagreement can become public entertainment. Yet Kurt and Goldie made a decision early on. They would not build their relationship for the cameras. They would build it for themselves. And that decision became the foundation of everything that followed. But staying together for 40 years is not just about love at the beginning. It is about surviving the moments when love is tested. It is about blending families, raising children, handling fame, working apart, and still finding a reason to come home to the same person. So what was the first real test that proved Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn were more than just another Hollywood couple? And why did their decision to avoid marriage actually make their bond stronger? That is where their story becomes even more surprising. When Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn became a couple in 1983, many people expected the usual Hollywood story.
A glamouroso romance.
A huge wedding. A few happy years. Then a breakup headline. But that never happened. Instead, they built a blended family and quietly created a life that lasted longer than many celebrity marriages. Goldie's children, Oliver and Kate Hudson, grew up with Kurt as a major father figure. Kurt also brought his son Boston into the family, and in 1986, Kurt and Goldie welcomed their son, Wyatt Russell. Their family was not traditional on paper, but it was real in the ways that mattered most. Still, the same question never went away. Why no wedding? For most people, Marriage is seen as the final proof of commitment. A ring, a ceremony, and a legal document are supposed to show the world that two people are serious. But Goldie and Kurt saw it differently. Goldie has explained that both of them had been married before, and they had seen what happens when a marriage ends badly. In her view, divorce can become painful, expensive, and emotionally difficult, especially when children are involved. She has said that independence and independent thinking matter because they allow a person to remain fully themselves inside a relationship. That does not mean they did not believe in commitment. It meant they wanted commitment to come from choice. Goldie has said that the important thing is the relationship itself and the will to stay together. Kurt has also said that a certificate was not going to create something they did not already have. Their message was clear. Love does not become stronger just because the government recognizes it. For them, the real promise was waking up every day and still wanting the same person. That idea sounds romantic, but it is also challenging. Because when there is no legal pressure to stay, both people have to keep doing the work. They have to communicate. They have to respect each other. They have to make room for separate careers, separate interests, and separate personalities. Goldie has spoken about freedom as one of the reasons their relationship has lasted. She has compared it to a bird with an open cage door. If someone feels free, they stay because they want to. If they feel trapped, they may want to escape. Her point was not that love should be careless. Her point was that love cannot survive if one person feels owned by the other. And Kurt seemed to understand that from the beginning. Instead of trying to change Goldie, he accepted her. Instead of demanding that their relationship follow a traditional Hollywood path, he helped create a life that worked for both of them. That life included major films, long periods apart for work, public events, family celebrations, and the everyday pressures that every long relationship faces. They worked together in projects such as Overboard, where audiences loved their chemistry. Decades later, they returned to the screen together in The Christmas Chronicles and its sequel, proving that their warmth had not disappeared with time. But their strongest moments were often away from the screen. Kurt became deeply connected to Goldie's children. Oliver Hudson has publicly described Kurt as a father figure, and the family has spoken about the bond they built without needing every relationship to be defined by biology or paperwork. That may be one of the hidden truths behind their 40-year relationship. They did not spend their lives trying to prove something to the public. They focused on building a home where people felt loved. And still, even with all that success, there were moments when people wondered if the relationship could survive. Hollywood changes people. Fame creates distance. Children grow up. Careers slow down. The spotlight moves on. Many couples discover that once the excitement fades, they have little left in common. So how did Kurt and Goldie keep their connection alive after the red carpets, the hit movies, and the biggest years of their careers? The answer may be the most personal part of their entire story. After more than 40 years together, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn are no longer trying to impress anyone. They have already lived through the moments most couples fear. They have faced career pressure. They have raised a blended family. They have watched their children become adults. They have experienced the changing nature of fame. And through it all, they have remained together. So what is their real secret? It is not one magic answer. It is a collection of small choices repeated for decades. Goldie has spoken openly about the importance of humor, attraction, kindness, intimacy, and accepting that two people will never be exactly the same. She has said that couples need to ask themselves whether they are still having fun together, whether they laugh, and whether they genuinely like each other. Those ideas may sound ordinary, but they are the opposite of the dramatic Hollywood romance people expect. Business Insider 6. Kurt and Goldie did not try to become one person. They remained two people who chose to share a life. That is a major difference. Many relationships collapse because people believe love means giving up every part of themselves. But Goldie has always valued freedom, and Kurt has respected it. They allowed space for individual careers, hobbies, friendships, and personal growth. At the same time, they protected the things they shared. Family, laughter, home, and the comfort of knowing that after a difficult day, there was someone who understood the journey. Their relationship also survived because they did not pretend it was perfect. Neither Kurt nor Goldie has claimed that 40 years together means 40 years without disagreement. They have simply suggested that the goal is not perfection. The goal is deciding whether the relationship is worth the effort. That is a powerful message because it removes the fantasy. Real love is not about never having problems. It is about knowing how to return to each other after problems happen. Their public appearances still show warmth, but the real proof is in the family they built. Kate Hudson and Oliver Hudson have often spoken with affection about Kurt. Wyatt Russell has built his own acting career. Their family gatherings, interviews, and shared moments show a group connected by more than a famous last name. And perhaps that is why the marriage question has never truly bothered them. They already have what many people hope marriage will bring: trust, loyalty, shared history, a family, and a relationship that has survived long enough to become its own kind of legacy. In 2026, Goldie again explained that she and Kurt wanted to choose each other every day. She praised him as kind, funny, romantic, and wonderful. That is not the language of a couple avoiding commitment. It is the language of two people who built commitment in their own way. So when people ask why Kurt Russell never married Goldie Hawn, perhaps the better question is this: why did they stay? They stayed because they found a relationship that gave them room to breathe. They stayed because they respected each other. They stayed because they became a family. And after 40 years, they are still choosing each other. That is the truth behind their love story. Not a hidden wedding. Not a shocking secret. Not a dramatic Hollywood twist. Just two people who prove that commitment does not always look the same for everyone. For Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn, love was never about a ceremony. It was about showing up. Again and again. Year after year. Do you think marriage is necessary for a relationship to last? Or do Kurt and Goldie prove that love can be just as strong without it? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more untold Hollywood love stories.